Driving home recently from western Iowa after visiting our newborn grandson and his family, I was scanning through the radio stations and I happened across a wonderful rendition of Luther's great hymn, "A Mighty Fortress is Our God." It featured a magnificent sounding organ and choir and orchestra, and listening to this both and at the same time encouraged me and made me feel very sad. This hymn will be sung in many churches this coming Sunday, Reformation Sunday in the Lutheran Church, or, well, actually it won't be sung in most churches because most churches will be virtually empty. And singing at home, even if the hymn is presented in the service, no matter how well presented, it just won't be the same. The hymn draws on Psalm 46. Pastor Craig referenced this psalm yesterday in his Light for Today. The psalm declares that God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. It's easy to say we won't fear when there's nothing to be afraid of, but that's not the case today, and it was not the case in 1529 when Luther composed the hymn. It was a time of great social and political unrest. The church was warring within itself, even while it was being renewed. The plague was still afflicting Europe, and there was, I just read, especially in England, a otherwise pretty much unknown plague called the sweating sickness. What I read described it this way. It says it came without any warning, and it did not seem preventable. People would just feel a sudden sense of dread and then be overtaken with headache, neck pains, weakness, and a cold sweat that covered the entire body. Fever, heart palpitations, and dehydration followed, and within 3 to 18 hours, 30 to 50% of the people afflicted with the illness were dead. Apparently, we still don't know what this sickness was. Well, this is not to minimize the current virus threat or the economic and social challenges that we face. It is to say that in a time when life was, I think we would have to admit, harder and offered less resources for dealing with sickness and hardship, Martin Luther helped people assert their ultimate trust in God with this great hymn, and this hymn is offered to us as well. Luther wrote, "Were they," and they here I think means all the forces that threaten our well-being, "were they to take our house, goods, honor, child or spouse, though life be wrenched away, they cannot win the day. The kingdom's ours forever." Hearing this great hymn last Sunday afternoon, I thought about the world that my grandchildren will grow up in, and I worry about it, and I suppose every generation has always worried about succeeding generations and their own families in the same way, and not without good reason. The hymn made me long for a big and festive worship service that we will not have this Sunday. But most of all, it bolstered my faith and my resolve to find trust and hope and strength in God, who is our refuge and strength, and to have in God no fear. This is Light for Today. I'm Pastor Mark Erlaub.